Welcome morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Let me start by saying something simple but powerful. Your life, your rules. Success isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. It's not always about fame, money, or how many likes you get. Success is deeply personal. It's about waking up every day and saying, I like the woman I see in the mirror. Growing up, the world gives you labels: daughter, wife, employee, mother. But here's the truth: you are not just a label. You are a force, and you have every right to define what success means to you, not your parents, not society, not tradition, not even your past. Maybe your success is raising a child while building a business. Maybe it's leaving a job that drained you to pursue a dream that scares you. Maybe it's just healing from pain and daring to love yourself again. That's success too. You don't owe the world perfection. You owe it your passion, your truth, and your voice. Don't wait for permission. Don't shrink to fit someone else's version of greatness. Be bold, be loud. Too much, if that's what it takes to be fully you, you will be misunderstood, you will be doubted, you might even fail. Failure doesn't mean defeat. It means you dared, and that's more powerful than playing it safe. So walk into every room like you own it, because if you've earned your place, don't whisper, own it, claim it, celebrate it. Remember this: the world needs women who rise not quietly, confidently, and on their own terms. Thank you. From a young age, we're handed a blueprint: study hard, get a respectable job, get married at the right time, have children, quietly check off every box that society has printed for us. But here's the truth: nobody talks about enough. Not every woman dreams of the same life. Every dream looks like a framed certificate on a wall or a wedding ring on her finger. Success is not a universal destination. It's a deeply individual journey that should be defined by your desires, your ambitions, and most importantly, your truth. There's this silent pressure to meet deadlines set by everyone except ourselves. You're told when it's too late to start something new, when it's too early to take a risk, when you're not too ambitious or not ambitious enough. But let me say it clearly: you do not exist to meet other people's timelines. You do not have to fit a mold just to make someone else comfortable. Real success starts when you stop living for approval and start living for purpose. When a woman says, I want to be a stay-at-home mom, that is success. When another says, I want to travel the world and never settle down, that too is success. If one chooses to build a billion-dollar company while another chooses to build a small local bakery that brings her joy, both are valid, both are powerful, and both are enough. Success should never be measured by volume, but by value, and that value, only you get to define it. The danger in letting society define your success is that it will always keep moving the goalpost. The moment you think you've arrived, someone will say you're still not enough, not educated enough, not married enough, not thin enough, not soft enough. The list never ends. But when you define success for yourself, something shifts. You stop chasing applause and start chasing authenticity. You wake up every day with clarity, not confusion, with peace, not pressure. So ask yourself, not your parents, not your boss, not your partner, what does success mean to me? It might be freedom, it might be influence, it might be peace of mind, or the ability to say no without guilt. Whatever it is, own it, protect it, don't let anyone water it down, because the most powerful thing a woman can do is refuse to let the world write her definition and write her own instead. From the moment you're born, the world starts handing you labels: daughter, sister, obedient girl, pretty face, good wife, working woman. These labels may seem harmless at first, but over time become boxes, invisible cages dressed up as expectations. And the more you try to fit in, the more you lose sight of who you really are. But here's the truth: you were not born to fit in. You were born to break molds. Your identity is layered, complex, ever evolving, and it will never be captured fully by a single title. We are conditioned to believe that being one thing well is better than being many things boldly, that you must choose between career and family, ambition and compassion, power and softness. But why? Who says a woman can't be fierce in the boardroom and nurturing at home? Who decided we must pick one mask and wear it forever? Beauty of womanhood lies in its range. You can be strong and sensitive, a boss and a beginner, a dreamer and a doer. You are allowed to be all of it at once and on your own terms. Labels are lazy summaries for people too afraid to see your depth. They tell you too bold, too driven, too different. But let's be real, too much is code for more than they can handle. And you were never meant to be digestible. You were meant to be powerful. You were meant to challenge norms, to take up space, to be the kind of woman who is not easily explained, but deeply respected. Because the real you does not need to shrink for anyone's comfort. The most dangerous thing a woman can do is reduce herself to what others expect. When you start defining yourself by their labels, you forget your own language. You stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, what do they want from me? But you are not here to be what people expect. You are here to become who you were always meant to be. Messy, brilliant, contradictory, evolving. The moment you strip away the labels, you make room for your real self to breathe. So instead of introducing yourself with roles, start introducing yourself with truths. Say, I am resilient, I am evolving, I am fire and calm, discipline and chaos, grace and grit. Say it until you believe it, because that's who you really are, not a title, not a role, not a label. You are a whole universe, and you don't need anyone's permission to be all of it. There is a strange kind of pressure that comes with being a woman, pressure to follow the safe route. You're expected to stick to the script, study hard, choose a stable job, marry at the right time, have children, and never rock the boat. But what if your heart wants something else? What if the life they plan for you isn't the one that sets your soul on fire? Let's make one thing very clear. You are allowed to want more, want differently, and want boldly. Your path doesn't have to make sense to anyone else but you. Unconventional doesn't mean wrong, it means brave. It means having the courage to step off the highway and carve your own trail through the unknown. That trail might be scary. It might be filled with uncertainty, judgment, and people asking, why would you do that? But listen, those people don't have to live your life. You do. And at the end of the day, it's better to live a life that's a little messy but completely yours than a life that's perfect on the outside but hollow on the inside. Choosing your own path might mean saying no to a promotion that doesn't align with your purpose. It might mean leaving a relationship everyone else approves of, your soul doesn't feel safe in. It might mean starting over at 30, 40, or even 50 and saying, this time I'm doing it my way. That kind of decision, it takes guts, it takes vision, but it also takes self-respect, because only someone who truly knows her worth will choose the unknown over the expected, trust herself enough to walk through fear anyway. You will be questioned, you will be misunderstood. People might whisper behind your back or wonder if you've lost it. Let them. That noise. That's just fear disguised as advice. And guess what? It's not your job to explain your journey to people who were never meant to walk it with you. You don't owe anyone a roadmap. You owe yourself freedom. The freedom to explore, to experiment, to fail, to rise, and to live fully, not just exist safely. So if your dream feels impossible, if your decision feels risky, if your gut is screaming go, but the world is shouting stop, listen to your gut. It knows your future better than your fears do. Because the most powerful thing a woman can ever do is look at a road no one has taken, smile and say, watch me. In a world obsessed with big wins, awards, titles, flashy announcements, we often forget that some of the most powerful victories are the ones no one sees. Society celebrates the woman who gets promoted, stays silent when a woman simply gets out of bed after weeks of battling anxiety. It claps for the woman who starts a company but overlooks the one who finally says, I deserve better, and walks away from a toxic relationship. But make no mistake, those quiet, personal victories, they are just as worthy of applause. Success isn't always loud. Sometimes it's soft, slow, and deeply personal. It's choosing to forgive yourself for a mistake you've carried for years, setting a boundary even when your voice shakes. It's showing up for yourself when no one else does. These moments won't trend online, won't be printed on the front page. But they shape you, they strengthen you, and they remind you that the journey inward is just as important, maybe even more, than the one the world gets to witness. We need to stop measuring success by how visible it is. Healing is success, choosing therapy is success, taking a break, saying no, letting go of perfectionism, that's success too. Because it takes an enormous amount of strength to choose your well-being in a world that tells women to be everything for everyone except themselves. Self-care isn't selfish, it's survival, and every step you take toward your emotional and mental health is a radical act of power. When you start to celebrate your small wins, change the way you see yourself, you stop seeing yourself as someone who is behind or not doing enough, and start seeing yourself as someone who is growing, evolving, transforming. And growth isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it means sitting in silence and facing parts of yourself that you used to run from. Sometimes it's letting go of a version of you that kept you safe but also kept you stuck. That's not weakness. That's a new level of strength. So whether your victory today was launching a company or just making it through the day without breaking down, own it. Whether you're healing a heartbreak or breaking a generational cycle, honor it. You are building something powerful within yourself, even if no one claps for it yet. Because every step forward, no matter how small, is proof that you are still in the fight and still choosing yourself. There comes a time in every woman's life when she has to stop asking for permission to be herself. You can spend years trying to fit in, dimming your light just enough to make others comfortable, editing your voice so it doesn't sound too strong, playing small so you don't intimidate, holding back your ambition because someone once said, "Don't be too much." But here's the truth that changes everything. You don't owe anyone comfort at the cost of your authenticity. You were not born to shrink. Being unapologetic doesn't mean being arrogant. It means being honest. It means showing up fully without needing validation. It means saying what you mean, dressing how you feel, living the life that reflects who you are, not who you were told to be. And yes, it makes people uncomfortable, but guess what? That discomfort is not your responsibility. You are not here to live a watered down version of yourself just because your full power makes others uneasy. Their discomfort is not your burden. You're allowed to take up space mentally, emotionally, professionally, creatively, and not just quietly or politely. You're allowed to be bold, to wear what you want, to speak when others expect you to stay silent, to want more than just enough. You are allowed to change your mind, change your path, and change your destiny. Unapologetic women are not rude. They are clear about who they are, clear about what they deserve, and clear about what they will no longer tolerate. Waiting for approval is a trap because no amount of outside validation will ever fill the emptiness of self-denial. And let's be honest, even if you bend, blend, and become exactly who they want you to be, they'll still find something to criticize. So why not live out loud? Why not walk into every room with your head high and your heart open, knowing that your truth might not be liked by everyone, but it will be respected by the right ones? You don't need to be liked by all. You need to be aligned with yourself. So stop apologizing for being ambitious, emotional, powerful, opinionated, bold, beautiful, soft, wild, deep, messy, or different. Those aren't flaws. Those are your fire, and that fire, it doesn't need to be controlled. It needs to be owned. Because when a woman finally stops shrinking and starts standing in her full truth, she doesn't just change her life, she changes everything around her. Somewhere along the way, we were taught to fear failure like it's a full stop, like it's something to be ashamed of, hidden behind silence and fake smiles. Let's get real. Failure is not the opposite of success, it's part of it. Every woman you admire, every empire you see, every legacy worth remembering was built on a long list of failures no one ever talks about. Falling down doesn't make you weak, it makes you real. It means you were brave enough to risk, to show up, and to chase something bigger than your fear. There is a strange kind of honor in failing, not because of the outcome, because of what it reveals about you. It shows that you believed in something enough to try, that you were willing to be seen, to be judged, to go all in. And that's what separates those who stay stuck from those who grow. Failure is the evidence that you had the guts to dream in a world that constantly tells women to play it safe. Most people never even get to that point. They're too scared of what people will think. But you dared. And when you do fail, and you will, because that's how growth works, you'll be tempted to quit. You'll hear voices in your head saying, "See, this is why you should have stayed in your lane." Don't listen. Those voices come from a place of fear, not truth. Because the truth is, Every setback is a setup for a comeback. Every fall teaches you how to rise stronger. Every no gets you closer to the right. Please, failure is feedback, not a final verdict. And if you're still learning, evolving, and showing up, you're not failing, you're building. Let's also be honest, women are judged harder when they fall. If a man fails, he's called brave. If a woman fails, she's questioned, her choices are dissected, her capability is doubted. But here's where your power kicks in. When you fail and still get up anyway. When you look that judgment in the face and say, yes, I failed and I'm still standing. That kind of resilience doesn't come from books or motivational quotes. It comes from living, from owning every part of your journey, especially the messy parts. So the next time something falls apart, don't hide, don't shrink. Walk through that storm with your head held high. Let your scars tell the story, not of defeat, but of grit, of wisdom, of a woman who didn't just survive her failures, but owned them, because at the end of the day, the only people who never fail are the ones who never try, and you were never meant to be one of them. For far too long, women have been conditioned to shrink themselves, to sit quietly, speak softly, not take up too much space. We're taught to make room for others first, to dim our light so someone else can shine. But that time is over. You don't need to earn the right to take up space. You already own it. Whether it's a boardroom, a stage, kitchen, or your own inner world, you belong there, fully, boldly, without apology, and anyone who tells you otherwise is intimidated by your power, not protecting your peace. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's ownership. It's standing in your truth, not because you think you're better than anyone else, because you finally understand that you're not less than anyone else either. It's saying, I matter. My voice matters. My work matters, even if no one else says it first. You don't have to be the loudest, but you do have to be present. Wait to be invited to the table, pull up your own chair, or better yet, build your own table and set it for women like you. Too often, women second guess themselves even after they've earned every right to speak up. They'll hold back a great idea, soften their language, or apologize for having an opinion. Here's the truth. Your voice wasn't meant to be hidden in the background. You have a perspective the world needs. You have stories that can open hearts, spark movements, and change lives. And none of that happens if you stay silent just to avoid making someone uncomfortable. Owning your space is about more than confidence. It's about self-respect. It's about saying, I've worked for this. I've bled for this. I've overcome things you'll never see. Whether you're commanding a room or claiming your peace in a chaotic world, your presence is your power. And don't let anyone, boss, partner, critic, or even your own inner voice convince you that you're too much. You are not too much. You are exactly enough, and your presence is not a burden, it's a blessing. When a woman walks into a space and owns it, everything shifts. People listen differently. Energy moves, standards rise, not because she demands it, because she embodies it, and that's what you deserve, to be more than noticed, to be respected, to be heard, to be celebrated. You don't need to be perfect to be powerful. You just need to be present, fully, fiercely, and fearlessly.